Chuck Schumer says he knows just what it feels like when you fill up your vehicle and it costs $80.
It turns your stomach.
A feeling, he said, that might not be in accordance with the laws of supply and demand.
There's ample evidence that the nation's oil refiners may be engaging in possible price fixing, keeping gas prices for New Yorkers at record highs and fleecing middle-class families in the process.
And what is he saying now, ladies and gentlemen? What is he saying now? Joining us is Walter E. Williams, distinguished economist at George Mason University, syndicated columnist. Hello, Walter.
Right. Good afternoon. Now, I wonder whether he's saying that now that gasoline prices are the lowest that they've been for a number of years, whether just big corporations, they just became morally rejuvenated and they don't care about making all this profit, and they're just nice guys now.
Yeah, and they're in collusion to lower the price.
or you can put it the other way, that maybe consumers are ripping off the oil producers.
There you go. Well, you wrote a great piece, as always, Defense Against Demagogues, and in your first paragraph, you give Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders as an example, and you know, and it's talking about when the price of gas was $4 a gallon. Now, of course, it's about half that, or even a little less than that. There's no shortage of people willing to jump on anything and anybody. Correct?
Well, that's right, and as I point out in the column, that the attempt to explain human behavior by greed is a foolhardy thing to do, and sometimes I just call it stupid, because if we define greed as people wanting more than what they have, well, then everybody's greedy. Everybody wants more than they currently have, whether it's more money, more houses, more love, more peace, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that people don't pay attention to is that by people wanting much more for themselves, they do all kinds of wonderful things. And I gave the example that this winter you're going to have Texas cattle ranchers getting up in the middle of the night in blizzards, running down their herds to make sure that they're cared for. They're making this personal sacrifice so that New Yorkers will have beef on their shelves. Now, why do you think they're doing it? Do you think they're doing that because they love New Yorkers? No, they do it because they love themselves. They want more for themselves. That is, and I'd be worried if New York is getting beef. It all depends on human love and kindness. I'd be worried about them.
And I don't blame you. You focus a lot on the corporate income tax, or the corporate tax, and we have a rate of 34%. And that, with all the talk, if the Republicans are successful in getting that rate diminished, or cut down significantly, the demagogues will be out in force.
Oh, that is absolutely right. And see, one of the things, the demagogues, they can exploit economic ignorance among so many American people. And the point that I made in the column is that corporations do not pay any taxes. They are legal fictions, and only people pay taxes. Now, for example, if you impose a tax on a corporation, and if the corporation is going to stay in business, it's going to do one of three things, or some combination thereof. One, it will raise the price of the product. So, again, people are paying the tax. They will lower their dividends. Again, people are paying the tax. They will lay off workers. Again, people are paying the tax. And so politicians love this. They love to be able to rip us off and say, well, rip us off behind our backs to put something phony such as the corporate tax. I'd ask people, well, would you be bothered if, let's say, you're a homeowner and the congressman says, well, I'm not going to tax you, I'm going to tax your land. Well, land don't pay any taxes. I would love for a congressman just to, or a person to say, well, I'm just going to tax your land, William. Don't worry about sending any money. I'm going to tax your land.
Let me ask you, Walter, about the Gallup CEO in charge of polling, who has been making the rounds on the media, talking about how, of course, we'll get a new unemployment rate tomorrow with the jobs report for January, how this 5.6% is a bunch of hooey because, as you and I have well known, it doesn't include people who have stopped looking, who are out of the workforce. It includes people who used to be, corporate executives who now work a couple of days a week maybe mowing someone's lawn, and because they get some kind of income, they're not counted as unemployed. And of course, it doesn't count the severely underemployed either. So it's all a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's a trick. It's a lie. That is what they don't do. The labor force participation rate, that is the extent to which people are active in the labor force today, is the lowest since the either early 70s or late 60s. There are so many people out of the labor force. Now, the Labor Department defines unemployment as a person willing, able, and seeking work. If you're not willing, able, and seeking work, well, then you don't count as unemployed. So the person who's gone out day after day, can't find a job, has become discouraged, he doesn't count as unemployed. And so I think that that the politicians are lying to us. Again, matter of fact, some years ago, and it's kind of a corny statement, a person said you can tell whether a politician is lying is just look and see whether his lips are moving.
Yeah, well, which leads me to Barack Obama somehow. I'm not sure how. By the way, we got about a minute and a half. Did you hear what he said at the National Prayer Breakfast today?
No, I just heard a reference to it, and then saying something along the line that what happened to blacks during the Jim Crow days is equivalent to what's happening now with the.
Well, yes, he said we shouldn't. He said we should not be on our high horse. He pointed to the Crusades and the Inquisition and said many atrocities have been committed in the name of Christ. And then he said in our own country, he brought up Jim Crow as an example. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
That is awful. And then on top of it, he was in India last week or a week before, and he's talking about the American poor, what's happening to American poverty, and our poor people, Indians would love to live as well as our poor people do.
Absolutely. Any country's poor would. Hey, Walter, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, goodbye.
Take care. Walter E. Williams, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. All right, folks. I still can't get over. I mean, to me, Barack Obama was giving every terrorist a heads up. Hey, remember the Crusades? Well, now it's our turn. What is that? Okay, up next, the director of Jihad Watch and New York Times bestselling author, I'm sure Robert Spencer will have plenty to say about that and many other issues of great importance, Jordan, etc., when we come back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, only on Newsmax Television.